Permit me to start my advocacy today by quoting the late General Sani Abacha. Any insurgency that lasts more than 24 hours, a government official has a hand in it. I'll add that any unrest or corruption that becomes a culture in a country has the full support and blessing of the government. The level of insecurity in Nigeria deserves a state of emergency. Kidnapping, or should I say the business of kidnapping, has grown into a booming unofficial industry. In December 2024, the National Bureau of Statistics told us that Nigerians paid 2.2 trillion naira in ransom between May 2023 and April 2024, a confirmation of what we already live with every day. You don't understand how scary this is until it hits close to home. I remember clearly when a documentary filmmaker and VR creator, also a friend, was abducted in Ibafo, Mowe in 2016. That was the first time it felt real. Since then, it's been story after story, north to south, of people snatched from their homes, roads, offices. Some make it back, some don't, even after paying. In February 2025, retired Brigadier General Siga was kidnapped in his own home and spent 56 days in captivity. But what shook me was the note of appreciation published after his release. The ransom demand reached 400 million naira, and a WhatsApp group called SIGA was created. Over 300 people contributed, including 7 military officers. So I ask, if a general is this unsafe, what happens to the rest of us? Are we on our own? Should we start running? Despite the government's insistence on linking phone numbers to NINs, that's the National Identification Number, in the name of national security, the kidnappers keep calling. They negotiate and arrange drop-offs. However, the same lines these criminals use remain untraceable. How? Are they invisible? 2.2 trillion was paid, yet we don't even have a working identity system. Under Nigeria's law, paying ransom is a crime punishable by 15 years imprisonment. So will they arrest the contributors of the SIGA group now? This isn't about fear anymore. It's about failure, a failure of leadership, a failure of consequences, and a failure of the system.
You said something that really touched me, and I'll tell you why. You said, you don't understand how scary this is until it hits home. So when you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was when I got picked up by SARS. Because honestly, before I got picked up by SARS, the only thing you see is, SARS online, SARS harassing young men, this, that. But, you know, I'm a young guy that every other day I'm on a t-shirt and jeans or pants, regular with my cap and everything. And I'm walking down the street and I see this young man that comes to hold me by the pants. I was in Lagos, I stay in Abuja. I was in Lagos, calls me by the pants. And I'm like, what did happen now? I'm like, why they hold me? Next thing, before I could say Jack Robinson, like 5 other men with guns, all of them with guns, approached me. At that point, I thought I was being kidnapped. I said, God, help me. Yo, you know the crazy thing is, as I was screaming, help me, there were people around, because this was a busy junction. There were people around, but nobody even moved. Before I could say Jack Robinson, trust me, they had put me inside this small bus. Put handcuffs on me. See the beating that came after.
Wow.
Oh my God. The beating that came after was... The last time I was beat like that probably was in high school or somewhere. I was in boarding house, you know. The beating that came after, at that point, if you told me I committed a crime, I probably would have been, yes, Nami Duamo. Nami Duamo. You know, so the truth is, you never really know how scary this thing is until you hit home. I always thought that kind of stuff was far away from me, you know, how would SARS pick me up? I don't even stay in Lagos, like in Abuja, they respect everybody, but you can get kidnapped anywhere, even anywhere in Nigeria. Because, well, you give the security agencies some kudos. I mean, they are playing a huge role in, because I know someone that was kidnapped, someone that was very close to me that was kidnapped, and it was actually the police that helped him that day. They literally picked him up from his office in Lagos, and they were driving with him. They wore army uniform, and they were driving with him, and they got to a checkpoint, police checkpoint, and the man started screaming, kidnappers, kidnappers, kidnappers. So the guys inside said, no, we're taking him to the barracks. They asked us to bring him. So the police said, which was brilliant, the police said, okay, if you're taking him to the barracks, let us drive with you, let him come down. Immediately the guy got down from the car, they took off.
I mean, listening to your story was shocking and scary. Because I found myself wondering as well. My younger brother looks like you. Hardworking, progressive young man with a family. I find myself thinking sometimes, what if he's just picked up by the police doing his legit business? Two things I want to bring out of your advocacy, Elsie, is the perplexity of the kidnapping phenomenon in Nigeria, and the perplexity of the realization that this is an industry. I pan back to your advocacy. You said, despite the government's insistence on linking your NIN in the name of national security, the kidnappers keep calling people. And then you say they negotiate and arrange drop-offs. They are not picked up. However, the same lines these criminals use remain untraceable. How come? And then you ask, are they invisible? 2.2 trillion was paid, yet we don't even have a working identity system. Is it the judiciary we should be asking? Is it the legislature? Is it the executive? You seem to think there's a complicity in this matter, such that kidnapping has become a thriving enterprise in Nigeria. People know who kidnappers are. Their wives buy new wrappers in the markets. Their wives inadvertently even talk about the new business their husbands get involved in. We see some of these things on social media, but we don't see a trajectory from the government showing that they're working on this responsibly. We don't see scapegoats. We see instead a rehabilitation of terrorists. It's such a shame, and it's really indeed perplexing.
So it's scary. And you talk about the numbers. Our financial system in 2003, the profit was 2.6 trillion. The entire bank made 2.6 trillion. Kidnapping made 2.2 trillion. I mean, it's a lucrative business.
It is an industry.
It's an industry now, right? And why does this exist? It's because nobody is paying attention. We live in a society that elevates corruption. People who come, the billionaire, my billionaire friend, Odogu 101. You don't ask people, what do they do for a living?
Your source.
What is the structure? What's the source of their income? Nobody cares. What we care about is, they built a church and they built a school. Let's live. Nobody's asking. Parents are not even asking their kids, what do you do? That's the society that we live in now. And then you look, and when it comes to like the possibility of solving this, like you said, the police are doing amazing. They're trying their best, even with the fact that they're not being paid well. But when you know that at the end of the day, you're going to be publicly shamed, you're going to end up on TV. When we create systems that make people understand the repercussion of doing things like this, what happens? It ends. People start getting scared. Like, these are young people who feel like nothing can happen, nothing will happen to us. Let's go ahead and do it. What's the worst that can happen? And they'll talk about poverty. When people know that they don't have a source of living, and they literally where they are, now die they day. Then I say, okay, last we'll still die, let's just go.
What
do I have to lose?
I would just wrap up everything we've said, on where Elsie ended, that it's a failure of leadership.
Yes.
Whichever way you're looking at it, I'm wondering whether that 2.2 trillion was part of our GDP for
NBS
that.
will answer that.
I don't know, maybe it's possible. But it's a failure of leadership at all levels. At this table, we had an advocacy where we talked about people's NIN slip being bought off the internet. There was this investigation that was supposed to then, come out and give us what happened. We're going almost a year now. We have no report about what's going on, why people's NIN could be shopped online. So the reality really, which every Nigerian must know, is that your data is swimming out there. And there are those who are not in the system, who are not authorized, who can have access to it.
There's actually a code you can dial on your phone to ensure that you are the only one linked to your NIN. So please look out for that code. Search social media, you find it. It's important so that you're not picked up as a kidnapper from your humble abode because somebody is using your name to perpetrate something else online.
I'd like to hear from you how you resolved that conflict with the police.
I did a live video for like 5 seconds, and my cousin saw the video. So my cousin lives in Lagos, and he's like, "Oh shit, they picked Kingsley up." Then he calls my dad, and next thing we start to make phone calls like, "Oh, where's Kingsley? Where's Kingsley?" Everybody's waiting for me. My dad has sent like so many guys there. We have like all these people. What's going on? Asking everybody. So everybody's waiting. That's him over there. And everybody's smiling. I mean, I'm smiling with them, but at that point I already have like bruises all over my face, my hand, my head. You know, but it's part of life. The most important thing I picked from it was, you know, our system is messed up. We as Nigerians have to work towards fixing it.
We must stop being afraid and begin to call out the failure that is dysfunctional Nigeria. That way, at least we're adding our voice to the demand for change. Join us same time next week and lend your voice to the critical conversations at the table. Till then, it's goodbye from all of us.
Peace.
To the Middle East.
In the Middle East.